So it currently looks like Ubisoft woke up one morning and said, that's it, no more Mr. Nice Guy. And people were confused, when were you actually nice, Ubisoft, in the first place?
Ubisoft closes your account if you haven't logged in for some time. You lose all of your games you purchased forever. For added context, Ubisoft can be required under certain data protection laws such as GDPR to close inactive accounts if they deem the data no longer necessary for collection. Ubisoft has claimed they didn't close accounts that are inactive for less than 4 years. Hey there, we just wanted to chime in and that you can avoid the account closure by logging into your account within 30 days since receiving the email picture and selecting cancel account closure link in the email. We certainly...
How nice of them to clarify it. Wait a minute. We can actually not delete your stuff if you just log in. Yeah, sure. Next thing it's gonna be like, you need to play at least 2 hours of this game per month, otherwise we're suing you and, you know, taking everything you have. Nice one, Ubisoft.
Don't want you to lose access to your games account. If you have any difficulties logging in, then create a support ticket. What? Like, am I missing something here? This is ridiculous. We notice that you have not been using your Ubisoft account associated with the email address. We temporarily suspended your inactive account. I mean, listen, Ubisoft is like Blizzard. People are gonna use any little fucking thing that they can find to shit on this company. But the one question that I do have...
That's not true. Ubisoft never really made good games. Fallout New Vegas is the best Fallout franchise and they didn't even make it. Furthermore, they actually did not give the creators of the best Fallout franchise ever made even their bonuses.
Is that, how is it, does Blizzard send out these emails in the US? Or, sorry, in the EU? Does Bandai Namco send out these emails? What, so if this is something that is required of these companies, then why do all the companies not do it? Charlie made a video about it.
Very good question,
I may not be a quantum physicist or anything like that, but I still would like to present to you a theory that I've cooked up.
Well, I would never assume that someone who looks homeless would be a quantum physicist on one hand.
Here, one that I'm nowhere near qualified.
That's just a joke, Charlie fans. I'd suck his dick.
Enough to speak on with good authority, but one I'm going to present with confidence anyway. I'm going to punch above my weight class to deliver an important truth about our universe that will open your third eye, and trust me, this is going to be a shocking revelation.
Traps are not fair play?
I believe at some point along our developmental path, we have overlapped with a parallel universe. I will dub our original timeline...
Is this about Ubisoft?
Makes sense. Let the man cook.
Like
the Berenstein Bears timeline, because that's what the books were known as when I was a child. And at some point along our history, our timeline collided with the Berenstain timeline, and the two performed a bit of a fusion dance, an unholy matrimony, and merged together, forming this amalgamation of nightmares we now live in. Our new cursed timeline. And...
I don't know, Chief. I think this is the best timeline. Also, really strange lighting.
One of the effects of the timeline isn't just Berenstein Bears being changed to Berenstain. It's also, seemingly, the fixation every successful company has on self-destruction. I don't know what...
There we go. I made it worse.
The fuck is going on, but some of the most successful companies in the world are making the absolute dumbest decisions. It's as if... when the timelines collided,
I think also, like, a lot of the decisions that are made, like, what happens also is that people make them out to be way worse than what they are anyway. So, like, if something bad happens, like, there'll be a million people talking about it and making content about it. So it's like a multiplier for, like, how bad a decision is.
I don't know. Ubisoft trying to delete your account in hopes that you will rebuy their game at some point does seem like a pretty bad outcome that should probably be discussed.
I think companies have been doing stupid shit like this all the time.
Leaders of these companies got banished to the doofus dimension and got replaced by an entire fucking circus. All of these clowns now in charge, bozo, are doing the dumbest things ever, sinking their companies. And the most recent example is Ubisoft. Ubisoft just proudly announced that they are actually willing to shut down inactive Ubisoft accounts, which means deleting all of the games you paid for. getting rid of your access to those games. Now, before going into this story in particular, I'll go ahead and preface this by saying this isn't necessarily new, that's not groundbreaking. Steam, for example, if you get banned on Steam, like if you get your Steam account taken away, you lose your games. Basically, when you're buying a
well, yeah, that's... I don't think anyone else... I don't think anyone has a different expectancy, honestly, there.
Digital good on Steam, you're kind of just paying for, like, the receipt saying that you can play it. Like, you're paying for an admission ticket, but you can always get kicked out. You don't...
Yeah, I think this is a bad thing, by the way. I'm not a...
It almost sounds like this has been our life for the past 10-15 years. Why are they acting like this is something new? You almost don't own anything that you buy currently. Like, everything you buy pretty much is now a warranty for use.
Fan of this, you don't own any of the games that you buy thing. I think this is not good for the customer. Like, there's no value for the customer that they don't even own what they're spending money on. Like, I understand that it's legal. I get that it's legal. I just think there should be consumer protections for these kinds of things. How does one get banned on Steam? How does it matter?
By trying to cheat?
Which is why physical media is still a very important thing. But before I really dive in here, I want to thank today's sponsor.
Holy shit, are you playing Watcher of Realms?
I am.
Well, tell me about it. I've heard about it.
Watcher of Realms is a next-gen fantasy RPG where you explore the mysterious continent of Taya and collect over 100
Sounds amazing!
With this Twitter post here saying, Ubisoft closes your account if you haven't logged in for some time. You will lose all your games purchased forever. And then it shows a screenshot of the email they had received saying that they're temporarily suspending the inactive Ubisoft account and will be permanently closing it in 30 days in accordance to their terms. But if you wish to keep this account, then you've got to click on the link that's in the email below. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was maybe a bit of baloney here. I didn't know if it was legitimate or maybe this was like some kind of isolated incident or some kind of like
isolated
outlier where the account must have done something, had violations or something, and now it's been collecting dust. I just thought there was extenuating circumstances. Because, like, with Steam, you're usually not just getting banned willy-nilly. No one's losing their Steam account for not logging in for, like, a long period of time, I don't think.
Yes,
not that I know of. So this was certainly a first, and it was an eye-opener. Because Ubisoft did confirm this. They went into the replies
That's what's so weird to me about this is, like, if this is a law, then why doesn't every other company follow it? You see what I'm saying? It's so confusing.
Said this. Hey there. No exclamation point. You make me sick, Ubisoft support. At least show some excitement here. Get some enthusiasm behind the statement. Hey there with just a period? How monotone. I can feel that you don't even want to be in the replies. We just wanted to chime in that you can avoid the account closure by logging into your account within the 30 days since receiving the email pictured and selecting the cancel account closure link contained in the email. We certainly do not want you to lose access to your games or account, so if you have any difficulties logging...
Somebody says it might be a specific French law. Well...
French? I'll leave it to the French. I believe that.
I'm not a fucking lawyer, right? I'm not an international lawyer. But it would make sense to me that any business that does business in France would have to follow French law. And also, they say it's because of GDPR, which I think is just a European thing. It's not a French-specific thing.
And then please create a support case with us, and then linking ubisoft.com/help. So they do confirm that this is a real policy, and if you don't click that cancel account...
Ubisoft just wants money, which is ironic considering they can just remaster Skyrim for the 25th time this month. And probably make enough money.
Closure link, you're losing your account and you're losing all the games that you have paid for. No negotiation.
I guess Ubisoft saw that Blizzard was stealing all their thunder and they were getting everybody talking about them by, tricking people into buying their battle passes yesterday. So they were like, well, look, I mean, like, we don't want to get shown up by Blizzard every day. We've got to come in.
Wait, so it was a trick. I talked about this previously. When I logged into Season 1, I see, like, this Battle Pass thing, and it's like, okay, what do I get? And I click the thing, and something magical happens. I have no idea what. So, it was a trick just to buy the Battle Pass, because there's no confirmation, there's no anything. You just click it, and it doesn't even ask you. It just instantaneously takes your money. I didn't know I even had battle account money in. Wow, that's kind of unexpected. Didn't go for my credit card because then I would receive a text. But wow.
And like really show people that Blizzard's not the only clown show. They're not the only circus in town. Hey, look at it.
My favorite part is everyone's like complaining about Blizzard being a clown show. Everyone's complaining about Blizzard literally hating its consumer base. Ubisoft is evil. EA is literally finding ways to you know, sue you and take your house away from you. Everyone just continues to use their products like there's nothing. You know why? Spineless. That's why. Most people are incapable of not, you know, having the opportunity to play a Bethesda game. Their whole worlds would literally collapse. So these companies can't keep doing this because it has already been proven time and time and time again that you will literally take 100 dildos up the wazoo if needed. If not even asked, you will still take it and put a smile on your face and continue trudging along because that's how spineless most people are. So there's no literal downside to this. They could literally force accounts, and as long as they couldn't be sued for it, they would be completely fine. And guess what? People would complain online, and then just rebuy the games. That's reality.
Yes. Look what we can do.
And Ubisoft is shutting the doors and they're taking your toys. And
God,
that's pretty hard. Like that's kind of aggressive, I would say. So I did a little bit more digging here, and according to this article that I was reading, they do make this policy pretty clear, though it's one that I was unfamiliar with, and I'm guessing a lot of other people were unfamiliar with as well. This article comes from Windows Central and says that on their website, they detail the policy against inactive accounts. Please be reassured that Ubisoft does not automatically close inactive accounts. As part of our terms of use, in rare instances, we may immediately close inactive accounts to comply with local data protection legislation. This is only if we have strong reasons to believe that the account in question will remain unused. I don't know how they would have reasons to believe that an account will be unused unless they...
I feel like it's like if you don't log into it for a certain...
It's pretty self-explanatory. If you haven't logged into your account for 5 years, there's not a good chance that you're gonna be logging into that account in the next year. You know, if you wanted to do whatever that is you want to do on that account, you would probably log in. This is kind of self-explanatory thing, I feel.
Amount of time.
Have like a death certificate of the person who owned the account. Like, you'd never be able to say with a high level of certainty who's never coming back, right? Like, how would they have access to that kind of information? But regardless, they go on saying that they may also close long-term inactive accounts to maintain their database. You'll be notified by email if we begin the process of closing your inactive account. And if your account was flagged as inactive...
You know why they need to close? Because every account needs to know every detail about it. Bruh, this is literally... this is a Blizzard stash tab situation right here.
And you would like to keep using it, you can cancel the closure of your Ubisoft account and then find the link for the cancellation in the Ubisoft email. And then there's some more mumbo-jumbo about checking your spam folder just in case and this and that. But it does confirm that they will delete inactive accounts from time to time. And that does mean losing all of the games that you paid for.
I just don't see a world where, like, this makes sense that they're doing it, but every other company isn't doing it. Like, what the fuck?
I still don't really understand the reason for it. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, I think it makes sense, right? They're trying to save money on data. They don't want to have as much data, and so they're just saving money on data. That's probably the reason why. I don't think it's...
to me, I'm no computer guy, but that sounds like, you know, saving a couple of bucks a year, maybe.
Wait, that complicated.
The only time this ever makes any sense to me is in the case of cheaters. If someone's cheating in an online game, obviously banning them makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, they may have paid for the product, but that doesn't mean that they get to go in there and cheat in the game. And they should be banned for it, which does restrict access to the game they paid for.
Yeah.
But it's their fault. They fucked themselves. They broke the rules. Whereas here, no one's breaking any rules. They're just not active on Ubisoft. For good reason. Uplay's a fucking laughable joke of a service, so maybe there's just...
You know what's a really good story about this situation first? I think the first one to happen to this was Blizzard, by the way. So, a lot of companies actually do delete accounts if you're inactive. Like, you are forced to make a new account if you suddenly try to log in after 10 years into something. They actually do it. I don't know if there's a law that forces them to do it. I'm pretty sure they just do it on their own. Because every company actually has this clause included in terms of service or whatever, that they do have 100% right to terminate your account for literally no reason whatsoever if they feel like it. And you know why that clause is? At the start, that clause didn't exist, okay? But if I remember correct, this was the first time this happened. Someone was playing World of Warcraft, stopped playing. After like 2 or 3 years, Blizzard deleted their account, and that person wanted to decided, you know, I'm gonna play World of Warcraft again one day, and they tried to log in, and turns out their account was deleted. And guess what happened? That person sued Blizzard, and they won, because they had no rightful grounds for the account termination. And this is pretty much when every company started including clauses that we can literally delete you any time that we feel like it, without any need for even an explanation. Interesting, huh?
There's nothing that's bringing them back, and they haven't been back for a while. Why should they lose access to all of the games they fucking paid for? When it comes to like a single-player game, or really any game aside from cheating in multiplayer games, when you pay for it, you own it forever.
Well, you should own it, but you don't own it, and that's the problem.
Well, you didn't actually buy the game. When you buy something on Steam, I'm pretty sure it's somewhere it literally says you are just essentially buying a right to play this game as long as it's allowed or something like that. You know, again, this is not new. We're talking about something that literally started 10, 15 years ago. Are we finding new grounds?
That is the fucking problem right there. Is that whenever you buy one of these fucking games, you buy a license to play the game. It's like you buy a store mount, and wow, you don't own that store mount. You don't own those pixels. You own a license to use a license for these pixels on your licensed account. You're renting
two
it.
Extra licenses, but
yeah,
yes.
it's like Blockbuster. It's crazy, man.
And should always have access to it because you bought it. But that's just not the way things really work when it comes to digital goods. And there's always just kind of been like this handshake agreement that, you know, you bought this on our service, so you do have it. You can play it whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Until we tell you can't. And here they're saying you can't.
Yeah, and I think the reason why it's gotten this far and it hasn't been an issue is because we haven't had a lot of instances of companies just like banning a ton of people for a reason that's like, it's like an unfair reason, effectively. And so, like, nobody's really talked about it. Nobody really gives a shit because it's not happening. But it's a huge problem. It's just a matter of time.
Based on some arbitrary distinction of you've been gone too long. You're too inactive, so we're deleting you. Which I think is really fucking dumb. That should be illegal to do that, if you ask me.
I agree.
And let me explain why I think this is...
Well, I don't think it's like... I don't think that it necessarily should be illegal in that way. I think that there should be some sort of massive... Like, if you terminate somebody's account and they're no longer able to use the product that they paid for, then you should have to fully reimburse them for the money that they spent originally on that product.
Well, that does seem like a reasonable idea, but then again, let's remember, you didn't buy the product. You bought a license to use the product, because that's literally, by the way, it. It's a license to use.
So, like, even if you, like, if Steam bans your account or whoever bans your account, you should be fully reimbursed. Like, without even a question. There's no consumer protection, yes. Because, again, like, for example, if I go to, I don't know, Walmart and I buy a chair, Walmart can't, like, whenever I get banned from Walmart, they don't get to come to my house and take the chair. I keep the fucking chair. It's my chair. Now, with, like, like online only games, right? World of Warcraft, for example, it becomes more complex, and that's like probably, I don't know really how this should work, but a lot of these games are not online only games, and there's no reason for them to be. I just think that there should be more consumer protection. Then everybody could do that as a way to refund their purchases with hundreds of hours of game time. Everybody could do that as a way to refund their purchases with hundreds of hours of game time. How would...
That's exactly true.
Like, so they would like make Steam ban them?
Yes.
To do that? I mean,
yes.
I don't know.
Why?
It's a horrible...
What do you mean you don't know? You literally said, if you get banned, you get to refund the thing. You know, you get to either keep the thing or you get a refund. Well, you know, I want, you know, tired of playing this game. What do? Get banned and, well, get a refund, make a new account, buy a different game. It's an infinity, you know, free money glitch at that point almost, only it's localized to Steam. See? This is why these things, I'm surprised someone in the chat actually said that. That's like, wow. In any case, but yeah, you see, that these things are not that simple, by the way, but people kind of choose to ignore the fact that these things are not that simple.
Horrible decision from Ubisoft. Why I think this is a particularly detrimental financial move for Ubisoft and other companies that follow suit is because it incentivizes people to not buy the official product. It encourages piracy. And not just this, but also the overly aggressive DRM a lot of games implement that actually makes the games play worse, is begging people to pirate the game instead because they get a more functional version of the game and they actually get to own it.
Well, this is a big thing with Nintendo games, is that people are doing that.
This is stupid.
People are doing that all the time. Is that they're trying to, what do you call it? Like, they're trying to play the game with like out 30, like I think Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or like the recent ones where people didn't want to have to play the game at 30 FPS on a shitty Switch, so they have like a jailbroken version and it's like it's way better, but Nintendo's shutting it down. And it's like, how do you really deal with that? Again,
what do you mean? Someone literally hacked it. Of course Nintendo is going to shut this down. Piracy is the solution only in two situations. One, ease of access. And piracy fails at that, by the way. Pirating shit is so much more complicated than just going to Steam and buying something, okay? Piracy only exists mainly just because of a lack of convenience, a lack of functionality for something. If it's easier to pirate something, people are going to do it. Because if a person has enough money and they don't care about, you know, spending 20 bucks on a game, they will always choose to actually buy it on Steam. It's just how the world works. If you do not know that this is fact and has been proven, this is so proven I shouldn't be even explaining this, honestly. It's just how it is. Piracy only is a lack of convenience. Pretty much. Like 9 out of 10 times, people are not pirating things because, oh, I have 10k in the bank account and I'm not gonna buy this game for 60 bucks. Get the fuck out. You're buying the game for 60 bucks, okay? You're pirating it because you have either absolutely no money or the pirated version of the game is offering you some kind of unique convenience level in the game, like, for example, the FPS thing, where the original game doesn't offer it. And by the way, what Asmon just said is a perfect example of this. If Breath of the Wild or whatever the Zelda game's name is, Tears of the Kingdom, there we go. If Tears of the Kingdom is better in a cracked version or hacked version or jailbreaked open version or whatever it is, because it actually allows you to play it like, I don't know, an uncapped frame rate, yeah, people will do it because it's better than the actual game. And the moment that happens, Nintendo is just instantaneously shutting that down and threatening to sue or do whatever bad things to the people who actually did it. And, you know, threatening all the platforms where this is currently being allowed to be downloaded. This is how the game works.
I think that if you buy a game and you pirate, like, you emulate another version of that game, I think that's totally fine. Like, There's no moral wrongdoing in my mind for doing.
Yes, there is. You're literally telling people outright that pirating the game is okay, which is not okay, which will lead some people, not all people, but some people, to just think and say, ah, yes, pirating is not bad. So I'm just not gonna choose to give this company money for their product. I'm just gonna use the free version. So there is absolutely a moral quandary there.
That. Now, I think if you don't buy the game and you're just pirating the game, well then, I mean, you're basically, it's not stealing because it's pirating. It's you know, like copyright theft. So like there's no loss of a fucking tangible thing, but you're
It's in the name. It's called copyright theft. It's literally in the name.
Effectively fucking stealing. But like if you've already bought the game and you emulate it on something else, what are we doing here? Are we really going to talk about how this is actually a problem?
Yes.
Come on.
You pirate a game,
you
own the game.
I get his point, by the way, but his point willingly chooses to ignore the actual, literal, existing obvious negatives, I should say, in this case.
That can't be taken away from you. Whereas if you buy the official game, if you just don't log into your Ubisoft account enough, you might just lose what you paid for. They might just deem you gone too long, you know. You went to the store to get milk and didn't come back in time, so now all of the games you bought from Ubisoft, you can't access anymore.
Yeah, and your kid's now 5, and he doesn't know your dad.
The shit you paid for, you can't play. I don't know how companies that have been around as long as Ubisoft has, or been as successful as Ubisoft has, are all of a sudden just missing the most basic concepts here. The water in their facility must be contaminated with a stupid juice infestation.
I don't understand how these guys are missing the pot. Like, Ubisoft literally has already written you off from their potential earnings if you haven't logged in 5 years. There's no literal difference. Honestly, I can guarantee you this, by the way. 70% of people who are not watching this video, but whose accounts get deleted by Ubisoft, will literally never give a shit. Yeah, the majority will never give a shit, because that's not how games work. Most people just play a game, they forget it even exists, and they never touch it again. Even though if they liked it, even though if they didn't finish it. Most people who have played Skyrim will tell you, I liked Skyrim. Did I finish it? No. Am I playing it ever again? No. It's just life. There's no loss for them. There's only gain.
Station. I don't get
something.
It. Because the #1 thing to combat piracy is a better service. It's not more DRM. It's not making things more difficult. It's making things easier, more convenient, faster, and better. You get a better product when you buy the official one. You get it quicker. You get it easier, less headache.
That's the truth, right? Is that a lot of times, like, look at Spotify is the best example of this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't pirate music anymore because Spotify is so good that it's worth spending the money because of the time that it saves, comparatively. And it's not even remotely close. It's, like, infinitely fucking better.
Yep.
Even, like, Netflix, right?
By the way, fun fact with Spotify, when first Spotify came out with this idea, everyone was laughing and saying it's never gonna work. Worked out great.
I have a Netflix subscription, and I don't pirate, like, shows because it's just easier to just go and watch them on Netflix.
It's just a better service. That's what beats piracy. But for some reason, companies like Ubisoft are going in the opposite direction where they're making a worse product and worse service for anyone that's trying to legitimately buy it and engage with the official products, thus pushing people to piracy. It's something that everyone has mentioned like 1,000 times over the last few years. It's not just like a hot take from me or like a galaxy brain observation from me. This is basic shit that a company like Ubisoft should be able to recognize. It's just
the fact that there's no consumer protection laws at all for people that like just get their shit closed randomly it's like
by the way, there probably is a consumer protection law, but we have a clear misunderstanding how these things work. If there is a consumer protection law that works against this, it still has expiration date, okay? The consumer law is not like, okay, Ubisoft, so starting from this moment until the heat death of the universe, you cannot ever do anything bad to these accounts. No. No. The consumer protection law, if it doesn't exist and it would be implemented, is gonna be exactly that. 5 years have passed, no activity in the account, delete it. You're completely... That's the only type of consumer protection on this case that we can even have.
Like, what? Why not? What is the reason not to have that?
Dumb. Like, it's a silly policy to have. There's no way that it, like, somehow makes them money or saves them money or even, like, really frees up space or bandwidth for them or anything. It is just nonsensical. It's just dumb. It's just fucking silly. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about this because this is just another example of another very successful company making the stupidest decisions for really no reason and no benefit. That's about it. So, yeah.
I think that there's obviously, like, you know, you could say they're doing it to be compliant with the law. Maybe that's it. But again, if they're doing it to be compliant with the law, then they have to do it, right? They have to do it. I'll link you guys the video. But that doesn't excuse it in my mind. That doesn't just make it okay whenever they're the only ones doing it and all these other companies aren't doing it at the same level. If they were following the...
Okay, we're gonna stop here before the things get outrageously autistic, okay? Ah, man, it's actually pretty not bright here. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.